over like a 4-week period, where it works out, can be anywhere from say $17 a session down to $12 a session, depending on what program you go on and how long you've been in boot camp. Whereas personal training's about, you know, anything from $50 to $100 a session. And in all honesty, you won't get much more out of personal training as you would out of a group session, especially if you've got the right instructor when it comes to group training, boot camps.
Okay.
And of course, what's the right instructor, you ask? The right instructor is someone with experience in group training, especially outdoor group training and military style classes. Any one of these trainers can take a group of people on a run and do push-ups here, sit-ups here, step-ups there, dips here and there, and everything like that. It's standard. I don't believe that a boot camp should offer those sort of things. A boot camp should be an option where people go and do things that they would not normally do and need the motivation and helping hand to do. So, like a running option, running along the foreshore and doing push-ups and sit-ups here and there, they can do that on their own time. Okay, there's no thought process needed in that. Anyone can do that, which is why I probably specialise in
doing different activities.
Yeah, totally different activities. Absolutely, it's more beneficial. Cross-training, again, super beneficial. Why cross-training, I hear you ask? That's a good question, Alice. Because cross-training...
what is cross-training?
Cross-training is basically doing every form of training available. So, strength endurance, strength training, endurance training, speed work, boxing, riding a bike.
Bit of everything.
Bit of everything. And the reason it works so well, if you're not training for a specific event, i.e. like sports specific, if you're a marathon runner, you wouldn't want to do too much weightlifting and stuff like that, but they do a lot of that now because they realise that you can increase, or sorry, you can add, you can change something in your training that's going to give you an advantage, then it's got to be worthwhile. And like marathon runners, for example, have found that if they add a little bit of strength training, so leg training, doing maybe heavy squats, slow repetitions, stuff like that, they increase their strength, which in turn gives them the ability to increase their stride length without actually working any harder during the running event. So for example, if their stride length was 1 metre, and after a 4 or 6 week session of strength training they increased their stride length to 1 metre and 5 centimetres, well naturally that means they're going to have to take less steps to run the same distance, which means less energy, faster time, better runner. Okay, so that's one example. Why would a skinny marathon runner do heavy training? And that's a really basic way to look at it, but that's how it works. Why runners again would use cycling? Because they do so much running and heavy compounding activities, hitting the road every week or every day, it starts to take its toll. They can also recruit more muscle fibres and hit every muscle fibre when they do a heavy bout of cycling. It's no impact, but it's another way of actually cross-training to gain benefit. For the general public though, cross-training is perfect because everything you do in everyday life is slightly different. You want to be able to pick things up from a low position, shift things from a high position, walk quickly from here to there, run after kids. Depending on what work you do, you know, you might be on your back pushing motors around if you're a mechanic, doing whatever. But there's so many benefits to cross-training for the general public that it's a smart way to train. Smart way to train. You know, working on core now, people are starting to understand that core training, okay, for those of you who don't know what core training is, it's basically strengthening, say, your whole midsection, front, back and sides. And by doing that, it allows you to constantly hold yourself in an upright position. This is looking at it basically though, but constantly hold yourself in an upright position so you're anatomically correct, which means as you get older, you've got all this strength to keep you, to allow you to have correct posture, which is so important. Because bad posture, slowly and surely, starts to create injuries all through the body. I mean, if you've got If you've got bad posture in the back, it's eventually going to lead to a limp somewhere, which will eventually lead to a hip malalignment, to a knee problem, to an ankle problem. They all sort of stem from one thing.
Okay.
So if you can continue to look after yourself at the very start, and I mean by the very start, doesn't matter if you're 50 and you've decided to start training, you can always correct and fix any problems.
Thanks for that bit of information.
That's no problem at all. I've got a ton more, and we'll probably get some more later on, actually.
I'll come back for some more.
That's excellent. Thank you very much.